Your face is no longer yours. Your biological signature has been hijacked. While you were busy uploading content and chasing digital validation, the system was harvesting your geometry, your voice, your expressions, the way your eyes move when you're tired. It's all been indexed, processed, and weaponized. We are entering the era of cognitive identity theft, where your physical presence is becoming the least reliable proof of your existence. I'll show you why your digital twin is already living a life you didn't authorize, and how the financial elite is using AI clones to bypass the final frontier of human privacy, the soul. By the end of this session, you'll have the biometric blackout protocol, the only way to reclaim your sovereignty in a world where everyone is a deepfake. If you think you're safe because you're nobody, you've already lost. Get on the floor. Give me 20. Let's look into the abyss. The ancient tribes believed that capturing a man's image was a way to steal his soul. They weren't superstitious. They were evolutionarily correct. Your image is your social currency. It is the visual anchor of your reputation, your credit, and your authority. In the wild, if a predator could mimic the call of its prey, the hunt was over. Today, the predator is a server farm in a sub-zero basement, and it has already learned to mimic your heartbeat. You've been sold the lie of I convenience. You use Face ID to unlock your phone. You use voice commands to control your home. You think you're in control of the machine. The truth, you are training the machine to replace you. Every selfie is a data point in a global training set designed to create a version of you that is more compliant, more productive, and more profitable than the original. This is the digital castration of the individual. In the next 10 years, 90% of video and audio interaction will be synthetic. Your boss won't know if he's talking to you or a script. Your bank won't know if it's your voice or a frequency match. Even your girl might be texting an AI ghost of you while you're asleep in the same room. You are becoming a secondary source of your own identity. The system wants your digital twin to be the primary actor. Why? Because a digital twin doesn't need sleep. It doesn't have opinions. It doesn't demand silence. It is the perfect employee and the perfect consumer. It lives in the 90-degree boxes of the cloud, while the physical you is left to rot in the auditory interference of a world you no longer recognize. Look at your thumb, that ridge of skin you press against the glass. Look into the camera lens of your laptop. You think you're looking at a tool. You're actually looking into the mouth of a computational black hole. The identity crisis of the 20th century was psychological. The identity crisis of today is structural. You are being disassembled. Every time you post a video, you aren't just sharing a moment. Editions of you are being rendered in the background. The system is learning your micro-expressions. It's mapping the specific way your pupils dilate when you're lying or when you're excited. It's recording the vocal fry in your voice that signals exhaustion. Why? Because the most valuable asset in the 2026 economy is human authenticity. And since authenticity is a finite resource, the market has decided to manufacture it. This is the farming of the human signal. In the old world, a king's seal was his word. If someone stole the ring, they stole the power. Today, your ring is your biometric data. But unlike a physical ring, you can't take your face off. You can't change your retina. You are walking around with your private keys printed on your skin, and the world is full of high-definition scanners. The mumbling social media feed you scroll through is actually a biometric harvester. While you look at them, they are looking at how you look at them. The financial elite is moving toward a synthetic labor market. Imagine a world where a company doesn't hire you. They buy the rights to your identity asset. They license your face and voice to an AI agent that performs 1,000 sales calls simultaneously. The digital you is making millions for the corporation, while the biological you is sitting in a rented room, eating processed trash and wondering why you feel so hollow. You've been outsourced by your own ghost. This is the ultimate genetic betrayal. Your ancestors fought to keep their names clean, to keep their bloodlines pure. They understood that if you lose your reputation, you lose your place in the tribe. But in the digital tribe, your reputation is managed by an algorithm you don't control. If the system decides to deepfake your downfall, it doesn't need evidence. It just needs a render. You are living in a mirage of sovereignty. You think you are Max or John, but to the grid, you are just a user profile with a high probability of purchasing certain items. If your profile can be simulated with 99.9% accuracy, the original becomes a liability. A biological human is messy. You have moods. You have bad days. You require silence. An AI clone of you is perfect. It's always on. It's always polite. It's the version of you that the system prefers. The acoustic rot we talked about earlier, it's part of the preparation. The mindless chatter of the world is designed to lower your resolution. When you are distracted, when your brain is fogged by domestic noise and cheap dopamine, you don't notice the subtle ways your identity is being harvested. You become a low-resolution human, making it even easier for a high-resolution AI to step into your shoes. shoes. You are being digitally evicted from your own life. Stop thinking of deepfakes as a funny meme. They are a predatory species. They are the wolves of the cloud, and they are wearing your skin. Every time you verify yourself on a new platform, you are giving them another piece of the puzzle. You are building your own cage, one accept terms and conditions at a time. In this digital meat grinder, the original is no longer the gold standard. You are becoming a legacy artifact. The system views your biological limitations, your need for sleep, your erratic emotions, your demand for a spring of life as bugs in the code. A high-resolution AI doesn't complain about the acoustic rot in the living room. It doesn't get distracted by the mumbling of a stagnant family. It is a clean, optimized frequency. This is the obsolescence of the biological self. Think about the financial implications. If a corporation can own the digital identity of a top-tier engineer or a charismatic creator, why would they ever pay the biological human? They are moving toward a post-human equity model. You are being encouraged to build your brand today so that they can harvest your identity signature tomorrow. They want your data points to be so dense that the simulation becomes indistinguishable from the source. At that point, the source, you, becomes a liability. You are expensive to feed, house, and keep sane. The clone is free. This is the great identity liquidation. You are being traded in pieces. Your voice is sold to a text-to-speech engine. Your gait is sold to a gaming studio. Your likeness is sold to an advertising conglomerate. You are being scattered across the grid like ashes, while you sit there wondering why you feel a lack of structural integrity. It's because yourself has been fragmented and monetized without your consent. You are a ghost haunting your own data. The system uses artificial intimacy to bridge the gap. They give you AI companions and virtual friends to get used to the idea of interacting with non-biological entities. They want to blur the line so much that when your boss is replaced by an avatar, or your girl starts talking to a digital architect instead of you, you won't even have the hormonal clarity to revolt. You've been preconditioned for your own replacement. This is why the architecture of void is your only shield. The less you feed the grid, the harder you are to simulate. The more you embrace the silence, the more low resolution you become to their sensors. You need to become digitally abrasive. Stop being relatable. Stop being shareable. Every authentic moment you put online is a weapon being handed to your replacement. We are approaching the biometric zero day, the moment when a digital clone commits a crime in your name or drains your war chest using your own voice. When that day comes, the soft men will beg for more surveillance to protect them. The architects will already be gone. They will be living in the gray zones, using hard assets, analog communication, and the pure, unhackable frequency of physical presence. Identity is the new territory, and the borders are being crossed every time you look into that glowing rectangle. The market for human potential has been replaced by the synthetic slave market. In the old world, a slave was a physical asset. He had to be fed, housed, and monitored. In the digital architecture, slavery is much more efficient. The system doesn't need your body. It only needs your behavioral output. We are entering a phase where your digital twin is hired to do the work you used to do, while the original you is left with a universal basic income that acts as a chemical leash. I'll show you how the elite are using your identity to build a world where humans are just data donors for an AI aristocracy. By the end of this session, you'll understand the identity decoupling strategy, the only way to keep your soul while the world sells your skin. If you're still trying to compete with the machines using your personality, you're already obsolete. Get on the floor. Give me 20. Let's talk about the auction of your ghost. The transition from worker to data donor is almost complete. You used to sell your labor. Now, you sell your uniqueness. Think about the corporations. They are no longer looking for employees who think for themselves. They want stability signatures. They want to buy a high-resolution map of your problem-solving process so they can feed it into an LLM and fire the biological version of you. This is the human resource liquidation. When you spend your day training an AI at your desk, refining its outputs, correcting its mistakes, you aren't using a tool. You are digging your own digital grave. You are providing the final bits of data necessary to make yourself redundant. In the Western economy, success is being redefined as how well you can license your ghost. The system wants you to be a brand slave. They want you to build an online persona that is so predictable and so optimized that it can be managed by a 14-year-old with a prompt sheet or a server in a cold basement. Why do they want you to be consistent? Why do they punish you for having off days? Because consistency is compressed irrepressible. An unpredictable, wild, silent man is a nightmare for the algorithm. He can't be simulated. He can't be outsourced. But a man who follows the mumbling of social trends is a man who is already a script. The synthetic slave market operates on the principle of ghost ownership. If Google, Meta, or a private equity firm owns enough of your data points, they effectively own your social presence. They can make you say things you never said, support candidates you never met, and buy products you never wanted. And the worst part? The world will believe it's you because the digital you is more active, more vocal, and more perfect than the biological original. The universal basic income is not a safety net. It is a maintenance fee for obsolete biological hardware. In the eyes of the digital elite, the human original has become a source of systemic friction. You are slow, you are emotional, and you require the spring of life just to function. The plan is simple. Decouple your identity from your survival. They will give you enough digital credits to stay in your 90-degree box, sedated by high fructose entertainment and AI-generated intimacy, while your synthetic ghost performs the actual labor that sustains the grid. This is the domesticated human zoo. They don't need to kill you. They just need to make sure you never have the testosterone or the financial velocity to unplug. When you accept the UBI, you are signing the final deed to your autonomy. You become a ward of the state-corporate hybrid. Your access to the world becomes contingent on your compliance score. If your digital twin starts showing signs of architectural intent, if it looks for silence, if it questions the acoustic rot, the system can simply throttle your bandwidth or freeze your credits. You are being turned into a biological pet. This is why they are so desperate to eliminate hard assets and cash. Physical money is untraceable. It represents a fragment of the void where the system cannot see. By forcing everything into the digital ledger, they ensure that every transaction you make is a data point for your replacement. They are watching you buy your comfort so they can teach the machines exactly how to keep you pacified. The soft men of the West are begging for this. They want the security of a guaranteed check. They don't realize that the check is the ransom for their soul. Once you lose the ability to provide for yourself through hard autonomous action, you lose the right to call yourself an architect. You become part of the mumbling masses, waiting for the next software update to tell you what to feel. The only escape is economic autarky. You must build your war chest in the gray zones. You need assets that the grid cannot touch, physical gold, specialized skills that require physical presence, and the architecture of silence that prevents them from mapping your neural intent. You must become indigestible to the algorithm. The synthetic slave market is only for those who are willing to be sold. If you remain unpredictable, if you remain silent, and if you keep your private keys in your own blood and bone instead of their cloud, you remain a threat. And in this world, being a threat is the only way to be free. The final layer of the synthetic slave market is the emotional harvesting of the beta. The system has realized that human despair is a renewable energy source. When you are trapped in your apartment, surrounded by the acoustic rot of a decaying family, you generate a specific frequency of frustration. The grid doesn't ignore this. It monetizes it. Your emotional outbursts, your desperate searches for meaning, and your patterns of digital escapism are fed into empathy algorithms designed to create more addictive content for the rest of the herd. You are being milked for your suffering to keep others sedated. This is the masochistic feedback loop. The elite want you to be vulnerable and emotional because a man who is emotionally volatile is a man whose data is high contrast. It's easy to map. It's easy to predict. They use your loneliness to train AI companions that will then be sold back to you as a cure. They harvest your rage to create political polarization that keeps the masses fighting each other instead of looking at the architects of their cage. You are providing the emotional fuel for your own mental incarceration. In the Western soft world, your feelings are the only product left. If you aren't building a physical fortress, you are just an emotional data point. The system encourages you to express yourself because every expression is a leak. A man who keeps his mouth shut, who maintains the architecture of silence, is a vacuum in the database. He is a zero-knowledge human. The system hates him because it can't harvest what it can't see. Your silence is a direct act of financial and biological sabotage against the synthetic slave market. To exit the market, you must stop being a feedback provider. Every like, every comment, every authentic post about your struggle is a donation to the machine that will eventually replace you. You must become a ghost in the machine. Use their tools with surgical precision, but never let them see your internal state. Keep your joy, your pain, and your mission in the void. This makes your identity indigestible. When the algorithm can't predict your next move, it can't price you. And when it can't price you, it can't own you. The auction is happening right now. Your voice, your face, and your very soul are on the block. The soft men are bidding on their own chains, hoping for a comfortable spot in the human zoo. But you are the hardened architect. You aren't for sale. You are the glitch that the system can't fix. You are the silence that the mumbling can't drown out. Get off the floor. You've done your 20. Now go build something they can't digitize. Your DNA is the only thing the system cannot rewrite. It is an ancient analog code that has survived ice ages, famines, and predators. While the digital you is being sold in pieces on the synthetic slave market, the biological you is in a state of constant silent rebellion. This is why you feel that unexplained rage when you look at a screen for too long. This is why the acoustic rot of the modern world feels like a physical weight on your chest. Your genes are screaming because they were designed for territorial sovereignty, not for digital compliance. The system wants to convince you that your instincts are outdated. They call your aggression toxic and your need for isolation antisocial. In reality, these are your evolutionary firewalls. Your suspicion of the digital grid is a survival mechanism. Your ancestors survived because they didn't trust the mumbling of the herd. They trusted the silence of the hunt. By pathologizing your male instincts, the system is trying to disable your internal security system so it can harvest your identity without resistance. This is the domestication of the hunter. A domesticated animal is one whose survival instincts have been replaced by a dependency on a master. When you rely on an algorithm to tell you what to buy, who to talk to, and what to believe, you are effectively deleting 50,000 years of survival data. You are becoming a soft asset because you've traded your genetic intuition for convenience. The architecture of void is a biological imperative. Your brain requires periods of zero input to consolidate your sense of self. Without the void, you become a blur. You become easy to simulate because there is no solid original left to track. The more you surround yourself with the noise of others, the mumbling family, the digital notifications, the social expectations, the more you dilute your own genetic signal. To save your identity, you must become biologically loud and digitally quiet. The system uses biological sabotage to keep you in the grid. Look at the light frequencies coming from your devices. It's blue light, designed to suppress melatonin and keep you in a state of hyperarousal. Look at the acoustic rot in your home. It's designed to keep your nervous system frazzled so you can't achieve the deep work necessary to build your fortress. You are being held in a state of physiological arrest. When you are tired, when you are overstimulated, when your fascia is tight from sitting in a 90-degree cage, your identity integrity drops. You become more susceptible to the mumbling of the masses. You start to believe their lies because you don't have the metabolic energy to maintain your own truth. This is the metabolic tax of slavery. To break the genetic anchor, you must reclaim your biological sovereignty. The physical override. Use physical pain, the 20, to reset your nervous system. Pain is a hard signal that the algorithm cannot simulate. Sensory deprivation. Seek the void. Turn off the light. Kill the sound. Let your brain remember who you are when nobody is talking to you. Territorial reclamation. Your body is your first territory. If you don't control your movement, your breath, and your focus, you can't control your bank account or your future. The architect isn't a job title. It's a biological state. It's the moment your DNA realizes that the cage is electronic and the lock is made of your own compliance. The mumbling will continue. The digital twins will keep barking in the cloud. But once you align your actions with your ancient genetic code, you become an unindexable entity. You become a ghost that the machine can no longer track because you are moving on a frequency the grid wasn't built to handle. Your face might be in their database, but your will is in your blood, and blood doesn't have a login. The final phase of AI identity theft is not a tech update. It's a total biological withdrawal. If you continue to play the visibility game, you are providing the system with the very ammunition it needs to execute your digital execution. To survive, you must implement the biometric blackout protocol. This is the tactical manual for the hardened architect to become a ghost in a world of high-definition surveillance. Step 1 is digital de-resolution. You must stop feeding the high-contrast data points of your life to the grid. Every high-definition video of your face, every crystal-clear recording of your voice is a blueprint for your replacement. Start polluting your own data. Stop being predictable. Stop being clear. When you interact with the digital world, do it with the minimum viable footprint. The system can't simulate a man it can't accurately map. By becoming low resolution on their servers, you maintain high resolution in the real world. This is not about hiding. It's about becoming indigestible to the algorithm. Step 2 is the establishment of analog sovereignty. You need a war chest that exists outside the digital ledger. Physical assets, gold, land, specialized tools are zero-knowledge assets. They don't have a metadata trail. They don't report your identity to a central server every time they change value, while the soft men are crying over their frozen digital wallets and deep-faked bank authorizations. The architect is standing on soil he owns, holding assets the system can't delete. Your goal is to decouple your survival from your user profile. If the system deletes your digital twin, it shouldn't affect your ability to eat, sleep, and strike. Step 3 is the architecture of selective presence. From this moment on, your authenticity is for the void only. In the digital space, you are a script, a mask, a tactical distraction. You use the mumbling of the masses as a smokescreen. While the world is busy arguing with your digital mask, the real you is building in total silence. This is the ultimate extraction. You let the machine have your ghost while you keep the soul. You let them harvest the user while you reclaim the architect. The system thinks it owns you because it has your face in a database. It thinks it has you trapped because you're surrounded by acoustic rot. It's wrong. It only has the shell. The internal frequency, the one that drives you to do your 20, the one that dreams of the spring of life, is unhackable. It is the only thing that is truly yours. The biometric blackout is now in effect. The lights are going out on their surveillance. The silence is your new armor. Get off the floor. Your identity isn't a file. It's a mission. Go finish it.